Chicago, 1979. A city that never apologized for being loud, ambitious, unforgiving. The kind of place where opportunities came dressed as ordinary moments and most people walked right past them without ever knowing. Gerald Hoss had built his manufacturing company from nothing. 12 years of 5 a.m. mornings, missed birthdays, and decisions that kept him awake long after midnight. By 1979, the company had 140 employees, 3 warehouses, a reputation solid enough to attract real talent. On paper, things looked good. Behind the numbers, Gerald knew something was quietly wrong. Money was disappearing somewhere in the operation, like water draining through a crack nobody could find. His accountants had looked, his managers had looked. Nobody found anything. So Gerald did what most leaders do when they can't solve a problem from within. He decided to hire someone new, someone who might see what everyone else had stopped seeing. Over 200 applications came in. Gerald personally reviewed the top 50. He spent 3 days interviewing 47 of them. They were impressive people, sharp, well-dressed, prepared. They spoke confidently about 5-year plans, leadership philosophies, industry benchmarks. Gerald listened to all of it, shook hands, smiled, said he'd be in touch. And every evening, he drove home feeling a quiet, inexplicable disappointment he couldn't quite name. On the 4th day, candidate number 48 walked in. His name was Daniel Mercer, 24 years old. His resume was printed on paper that had clearly spent some time, folded in a jacket pocket. No briefcase, no rehearsed opener. He simply sat down across from Gerald, placed his hands flat on the table, and waited, with the kind of calm that made Gerald straighten up slightly in his chair, without knowing why. Gerald asked the same question he'd asked 47 times before. What do you want from this job? There was a pause. Not the nervous kind, the thinking kind. Daniel looked at the table for a moment, then back at Gerald. Honestly, I want to understand how things break, so I can be the person who figures out how to fix them, before anyone else notices. The room was quiet. Gerald didn't respond immediately. He looked at this young man, no polished pitch, no manufactured enthusiasm, and felt something shift in his chest. Not excitement exactly. Recognition. Like hearing your own thought said out loud by a stranger. The interview lasted 2 minutes. Gerald hired him before he reached the door. Daniel started the following Monday. He asked for no special access, no early responsibilities. He simply watched. For the first 2 weeks, he barely spoke in meetings. He walked the warehouse floor during lunch. He read shipping logs that nobody had touched in months. He drew little diagrams in a notebook that he carried everywhere and showed to no one. In his 3rd week, he knocked on Gerald's office door and set a single sheet of paper on his desk. It was a supply chain route, specifically a redundant routing loop that had been quietly added to the system 18 months ago during a software update. Never caught, never corrected. Every single outbound shipment was being routed through an unnecessary third-party handling facility, adding cost, adding time, and adding liability. Nobody had designed it that way. It had just happened. And because it had always been there, nobody questioned it. The annual cost of that invisible, unremarkable loop, $2.3 million. Daniel fixed it in 11 days. Gerald stood in his office, holding that piece of paper, for a long time after Daniel left. He thought about the 47 people who had sat across from him that week. He thought about their 5-year plans, their industry benchmarks. Then he thought about a 24-year-old with a crumpled resume who just wanted to understand how things break. Over the next decade, Daniel didn't climb the ladder so much as quietly redesign it. By 1985, Gerald had made him operations director. By 1989, a full partner in the business. By 1995, the company had grown into a $400 million operation. With clients across 11 states, Gerald often joked in interviews that his greatest business decision had nothing to do with a contract or a market move. It was a 2-minute conversation with a young man who gave him an honest answer instead of a practiced one. Reporters would sometimes ask Gerald what made Daniel different. From the hundreds of people who had worked for him over the years, he always gave the same answer. He'd lean back, think for a moment, and say, "Everyone else came in and told me what they wanted to take from this place. Daniel was the only one who told me what he wanted to give." He had asked one question. The answer cost him nothing. It made him everything. Some doors don't open because you knock the loudest. They open because you said the one true thing at the right moment to the right person. And you didn't even know it was a test. If this story moved something in you, share it with someone who needs it today. Because somewhere out there, someone is sitting across a desk and they haven't found their answer yet.